Good morning, good afternoon. My name is Scott Eisner. I'm president of the U.S. Africa Business Center, and welcome to today's session. Before I kick things off, I'd like to recognize a number of our distinguished guests today. Obviously, if we were doing this in person, it would be a little bit different atmospherics, but I do want to recognize the Honorable Minister of Trade and Industry of Ghana, Deputy U.S. Trade Representative for Africa, Bennett Harmon, U.S. Ambassador to Ghana, Stephanie Sullivan, U.S. Chamber of Commerce, Board of Directors, and members of the AmCham Ghana and their members of the media, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, one of the greatest phrases ever invented, all protocols are being observed today. Thank you again for joining us. And on behalf of the U.S. Chamber of Commerce's Africa Business Center and AmCham Ghana, it's my distinct pleasure to welcome you all to this 2021 edition of the U.S. Ghana Business Forum. In just a moment, I'll talk briefly about the Chamber's work in Africa, highlight our engagement in Ghana, and preview today's discussion. Then I'll introduce our keynote speakers and move on to the rest of the program. But before I do that, I'd be remiss if I didn't thank our sponsors for today's event. Our gold sponsors are Cummins, Cosmos Energy, and Coca-Cola, and our silver sponsors, Masco Foods, KFC, and Kamathi Partners Corporate Attorneys. I also want to thank our partners for this event, the Ghana Embassy in Washington, D.C., the U.S. Embassy in Accra, the U.S. Commercial Service in Ghana, GIPC, the Ghana Investment Promotion Center, led by my good friend Yofi Grant, and the Ghana Houston Chamber of Commerce. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce is the preeminent policy vehicle on trade and investment in the United States between the U.S. and Africa. The Chamber is the world's largest business federation with a totaling membership of over 3 million members of all sizes, sectors, and regions. We're 109 years old. We have a federation of more than 118 American chambers of commerce like the one in Accra, across 106 countries globally. We also have a network of over 2,500 American chambers of commerce locally in the United States. Over the past 30 years, AmCham Ghana has been at the front line of expanding trade and investment between the United States and Ghana. AmCham has recorded significant achievements and supported several high-level delegations, including the visit by President Bill Clinton, and more recently, the first edition of the U.S. Ghana Business Roundtable organized during the fact-finding visit of the President's Advisory Council on Doing Business in Africa, led by then U.S. Secretary of Commerce Wilbur Ross. Note that today's event takes place on the theme Promoting U.S.-Ghana Partnership Through Trade and Investment. With the commencement of trade under the preferential terms of the historic AFCFTA since January 1 of this year, Africa is poised to unite a 1.3 billion person market with the combined GDP of 3.4 trillion. This will pave the way towards harmonization of policies and greater interregional trade and integration. And according to the World Bank estimates, a full implementation of the AFCFTA could increase real income gain on the continent by 7%, or nearly $450 billion by 2035. As the host country of this Secretariat, Ghana is poised to take advantage of these opportunities presented by the agreement through the adoption of transformative reforms to attract foreign direct investment, develop its industrial base, increase productivity, and boost its economic job creation. At the U.S. Chamber, we're committed to supporting businesses of all sizes thrive and to ensure our member companies see Ghana and Africa as favorable investment destination. During the next 2 days, we'll plan to engage you in a conversation on how to promote U.S.-Ghana partnership through trade and investment, as today's event title indicates. Today, we'll quick start the forum with 3 high-level opening statements by the U.S. Ambassador to Ghana, the Deputy Assistant Trade Representative for the United States for Africa, and the Honorable Minister of Trade and Industry from Ghana. You also have an address by the AFCFTA Secretariat on the state of U.S. Africa business relations in the context of the AFCFTA. And this will be followed by a very robust panel discussion by policy experts on how do you boost inter-Africa trade and investment through digitization and e-commerce. And tomorrow, as this program continues, you'll be listening to 2 vibrant panel discussions on the prospects of Ghana's extractive, energy, and infrastructure sectors and developing U.S.-Ghana partnerships in manufacturing, services, and franchising. You also hear from the new Ghana ambassador to the United States on how to harness diaspora to promote trade and investment between the United States and Ghana, and the CEO of the Ghana Investment Promotion Center on investment opportunities in Ghana for U.S. investors in the context, again, of the AFCFTA. I'd now like to introduce Ms. Aisha Bedwe, the president of AmCham Ghana, our co-host for today's event, who will introduce Ambassador Sullivan, the United States ambassador to Ghana, for her opening remarks. Aisha is a partner at PwC in Ghana and specializes in tax advisory services focused on the energy sector. She has over 18 years of experience in finance and accounting. She holds leadership positions within PwCs in the areas of corporate responsibility and diversity inclusion, and is responsible for PwC's West Africa market. She's a passionate leader in her career development, has focused a lot on the prestigious Africa Leadership Network since 2014. She's a true leader in Ghana, having been recognized numerous times for her positions and expanding opportunities for U.S. Africa trade. Aisha, the floor is yours. Thank you so much for being a partner today.
Thank you so much, Scott, and good afternoon and good morning to everybody, wherever you are. I bring you greetings from Ghana and from the American Chamber of Commerce based in Ghana. I'm excited to be part of this important forum, and I'm just going to make a few introductory remarks before I introduce the American ambassador to Ghana. So the theme for this forum is promoting U.S. Ghana partnership through trade and investment. And it comes on the back of Ghana's hosting of the AFCTA Secretariat, and also after several months of trading through AFCTA, the world's largest free trade area in terms of a number of countries encompassing 1.3 billion people and about $3.4 trillion in GDP. I'd like to make some special acknowledgements for today for the Honorable Minister of Trade and Industry, Mr. Alan Tremanting, Mr. Bennett M. Harman, Deputy Assistant U.S. Trade Representative for Africa, Office of U.S. Trade. H.E. Stephanie Sullivan, U.S. Ambassador to Ghana. H.E. Hajia Alima Mahama, Ghana's Ambassador to the United States. Scott Eisner, President of the U.S. Business Center at the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. Dr. Guevara Yao, Executive Director at the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. Mr. Yofi Grant, CEO of the Ghana Investment Promotion Center. Pak Woshum, Vice President of AmCham Ghana, and to all speakers and panelists for this two-day event. This forum has become important to bring clarity to the new U.S. administration's policies towards Africa in the context of the AFCTA, opportunities for trade and investment between our two countries, digital economy, extractive, energy, infrastructure, manufacturing, services, and franchising. And lastly, for us to understand the role of U.S. companies in the implementation and the execution of the AFCTA. The Chamber pledges to work with the Ghana Embassy in Washington, D.C., and the U.S. Chamber of Commerce to alternate this forum between Ghana and the United States. So we're very hopeful that next year we can have a physical forum, and we probably will have it in the United States, God willing. I'd like to acknowledge our sponsors. So this forum was made possible by the kind courtesy of the following sponsors. Our gold sponsors, Cummins Ghana, Cosmos Energy LLC, and Coca-Cola, and our silver sponsors, Masco Foods, KFC, and Kimathi and Partners, corporate attorneys. I'd also like to acknowledge our partners for the forum, Ghana Embassy in Washington, D.C., U.S. Commercial Service of the United States Department of Commerce, Ghana Investment Promotion Center, and the Ghana Houston Chamber of Commerce. At the end of the conference, it is expected that the U.S.-Ghana commercial partnership will be projected and enhanced, focused on improving the investment climate in Ghana and the African continent as a whole. Participants will be brought up to date on the latest trends on trade and investment and on the continent, and will have the opportunity to share their experiences, identify specific investment opportunities for future transactions. Thank you very much. And on that note, I'd like to introduce our next speaker, who is H.E. Stephanie Sullivan, United States Ambassador to Ghana. Stephanie Sullivan is a career member of the Senior Foreign Service, a class of career minister, and was sworn in as U.S. Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary to the Republic of Ghana on November 30th, 2018. She presented her credentials to President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo on January 23rd, 2019. Ambassador Sullivan was nominated by President Donald Trump on July 9th, 2018, and confirmed by the U.S. Senate on September 6, 2018. She formerly served as Ambassador to the Republic of Congo from 2013 to 2017. Most recently, she was the acting Principal Deputy Assistant Secretary for the Bureau of African Affairs at the U.S. State Department, after having been Deputy Assistant Secretary for Central African Affairs and Security Affairs since January 2017. Ambassador Sullivan was Chief of Staff to the Deputy Secretary of State for Management and Resources from 2011 to 2013. She was previously Managing Director of the Office of Management Policy, Right Sizing and Innovation. She served multiple tours in the Executive Secretariat Operations Center, the State Department's 24/7 Briefing and Crisis Management Center, as Director from 2008 to 2010, Deputy Director from 2003-2005, Senior Watch Officer from 2002 to 2003, and Watch Officer from 1988 to 1989. and in the White House Situation Room from 1989 to 1990. Ms. Sullivan served as the political chief in Accra, Ghana from 1997 to 2001, and as a management consular and political officer in Douala and Yaoundé, Cameroon from 1986 to 1988. Other Washington assignments include desk officer for Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso in the Bureau of African Affairs from 1991 to 1993, as well as post-management and human resources positions supporting colleagues in Africa, Europe, and the Western Hemisphere. Ms. Sullivan was a Peace Corps volunteer in the Democratic Republic of Congo from 1980 to 1983, and later worked as Chief of Operations for the Africa region at the Peace Corps from 1994 to 1996. Ambassador Sullivan graduated from Brown University with a Bachelor of Arts degree in Classics and from the National War College with a Master of Science in National Security Strategy. She speaks French, Lingala, and some Spanish. Madam Ambassador, I'm going to hand over to you now, and I'll encourage everybody to enjoy the rest of the conference. Thank you very much.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. It's a real pleasure for me to participate in the opening session of this business forum organized by the American Chamber of Commerce in Ghana. The U.S. and Ghana share a long-standing, strong, and dynamic relationship. We work together on a broad spectrum of issues, including public health, education, entrepreneurship, security, and perhaps most important for this audience, building business relationships. American businesses and investors deepen the ties between our two countries. We greatly appreciate the leadership of the American Chamber of Commerce in Ghana in advancing this aspect of our long-term partnership. There are well over 100 U.S. firms operating in Ghana, from the development and exploration of major oil fields by Cosmos Energy to the transformation of healthcare delivery by Zipline, which transports life-saving medical products and vaccines to remote areas by drone. Companies are finding success in Ghana and contributing to prosperity in both our countries. American innovators are eager to partner with Ghanaian businesses across a wide range of industries that support their work, from logistics to raw materials and much, much more. I'm very pleased that despite the pandemic, this year several well-known American companies and brands have chosen Ghana as a market for growth. Twitter announced in April that it will open its West African headquarters here. The Far East Mercantile Company recently opened a new Estée Lauder cosmetics store, as well as 2 Domino's Pizza franchise stores in Accra. And they actually let me make the first pizza at one of those, which had my kitchen staff in stitches. And in May, United Airlines reopened its direct nonstop route between Washington, D.C. and Accra. That same United flight delivered more than 1.2 million doses of Moderna COVID-19 vaccines to Ghana just last Saturday morning. Along with Delta Airlines nonstop from New York, business travelers on both sides of the ocean have direct access to each other's markets. Ghanaian firms, too, are succeeding in the U.S. market, where consumers are benefiting from quality-made products from right here in Ghana. For example, Emmy Beth Akukwanson is the dynamic owner of Kawa Mocha Coffee and an alumna of our Embassy Exchange programs. She landed a contract with Boston-based 7-Eleven stores to supply hundreds of well-known convenience stores with Ghanaian-grown coffee. American agribusiness firm Bunge Loaders Cochrane is processing shea butter here in Ghana at a state-of-the-art fractionation facility in Tema, creating jobs locally and exporting shea products under the African Growth and Opportunity Act, or AGOA. Today, more than 6,500 goods can be exported duty-free from Ghana to the United States. And last year, Ghana exported almost $136 million in goods to the United States, mostly from Ghanaian companies. As Africa's economy and economies around the globe dust themselves off from the effects of the pandemic, the opportunity is ripe for the African Continental Free Trade Area to deliver on its objective to expand intra-regional trade and capture new foreign direct investment, with Ghana in the lead as host of the Secretariat. The AFCFTA is a game changer, not only for doing business across the continent, but also for how the world thinks of Africa. And Ghana is well positioned to capitalize on the new economic synergies and opportunities for growth that the AFCFTA can bring to the continent. I'm told of a Ghanaian proverb that I think fits quite well here. If an opportunity is not taken when it comes, it passes away. That entrepreneurial spirit of working hard, taking advantage of opportunities, and finding success is alive and well in Ghana, and it's a cornerstone of the U.S. Ghana commercial relationship. Small and large companies alike, starting with an innovative idea, growing and expanding, then seeking partners and customers across the ocean, are what keep our trade relationship so active and vibrant. I remember during the visit of then President Bill Clinton in March 1998, during my earlier assignment in Ghana, first hearing of Ghana as the gateway to Africa. And I've watched our economic relationship grow and mature since then. For American companies participating today who might be new to the Ghanaian market, I say to you, don't let this opportunity pass. From perfume to pizza, from tweets to flights, U.S. companies are finding what they seek in Ghana: a growing economy, political stability, security, and the enormous promise of the African Continental Free Trade Area. At our mission in Ghana, we have a dedicated interagency deal team focused on supporting U.S. companies, helping them to find partners, navigate the regulatory environment, and win deals. You can contact my team directly at accradealteam@state.gov. I encourage all interested American firms to seek the support of our deal team, made up of the U.S. Commercial Service, the Foreign Agriculture Service, the Trade and Development Agency, the U.S. Agency for International Development, and of course, the State Department's Economic Section. Thank you so much for your kind attention, and have a great couple of days.
Well, Ambassador, thank you so much for your wisdom and your partnership of the U.S.-Ghana relationship for all these years. We really do appreciate all of the things you've done to make sure American companies have a good foothold and Ghanaian companies have an opportunity to export to the United States. So thank you. Well, it's now my distinct pleasure to introduce another friend and ally within the U.S. government, Deputy Assistant. Let's give you a promotion, Bennett. Deputy Assistant of U.S. Trade Representative for Africa. Bennett Harmon has been a great friend of the business communities and an ally to help us understand many of the opportunities that we see across the continent. He's got a deep and rich history of engaging African governments and working with the private sector. In his numerous roles at USTR, he led the effort to establish the steering group to ensure a whole of government strategic approach to trade capacity building in Africa. We've worked with him closely, as I mentioned, on a range of sectoral and regional opportunities, from AGOA to taxation to opening new markets for American goods and services. Bennett, again, thank you for your partnership over the years and all that you've done to strengthen U.S.-Africa ties.
Great. Thanks so much, Scott. It's a pleasure to be with you all today. And it's an honor to be among such a distinguished group of speakers. I hope you're all staying safe in these incredibly challenging times. At USTR, we feel very fortunate to have Ambassador Catherine Tai as the U.S. Trade Representative. She's so committed to the trade relationship with Africa. Under her leadership, she's established a fundamental priority for USTR to have a worker-centered trade policy as part of the Biden-Harris administration's Build Back Better agenda. As we work to strengthen our economic cooperation with the continent, we're determined to implement policies that benefit not only those at the top. We want to foster inclusive growth, sustainable development, and regional integration, and to ensure that all of our respective citizens benefit from the global economy, especially as we recover from the pandemic. Ambassador Tai also wants to ensure that all voices are heard in trade policy formulation. I'm interested in hearing your perspectives about how the U.S. and Ghana can work together toward this vision. Now, Ghana has been an important U.S. trade partner of the United States for a very long time and continues to be so. In both 2020 and during the first 6 months of this year, Ghana was the United States' third largest two-way trade partner in sub-Saharan Africa after South Africa and Nigeria. I'm encouraged that our trade flows with Ghana are recovering significantly between last year and this year. Two-way trade during the first 6 months of this year have surged nearly 57% over the same period last year. And what I think is so noteworthy about the U.S. Ghana trade relationship is that it is diversified across so many sectors. There is not only trade and investment taking place in extractive industries, but also in agriculture, financial services, franchising, and the tech industries. There are major American corporations investing in Ghana, but also many small enterprises doing business as well. We would like to see such a trade pattern with more countries across the continent. Now, much of Ghana's exports to the United States have been under AGOA, and I'm aware that many African governments are growing concerned about the fact that AGOA is due to expire within 4 years, or at the end of 4 years. Tomorrow, the African Union Mission in Washington will be hosting the annual AGOA midterm review. And that will provide a great opportunity for our respective governments to begin a conversation about the path forward. In the coming months and years, the U.S. Chair will want to engage on this, not just with our counterparts in African governments, but also with members of the private sector, civil society, and worker groups. In thinking about post-2025, we should assess how the broadest scope of partners can derive benefit from the U.S.-Africa trade relationship. As we've come to learn, attracting investment in emerging markets requires far more than just trade preferences. And so we need to be creative and strategic about how we chart our path forward. Now, Congress holds the pen on trade legislation, but we would like to share our best ideas with them. And one key vehicle we have to engage with our African partners over the past 20 years has been the AGOA Forum, which the government of Ghana did a great job of hosting back in 2007. Unfortunately, the COVID-19 pandemic is going to prevent us from holding an in-person event this year. But on October 20th and 21st, we will hold a virtual AGOA ministerial meeting, which isn't the same as a forum, but it is what we were able to organize under the circumstances. This event will feature a roundtable between Ambassador Tai and her counterparts, which we hope Minister Cherry Martin will be able to join. It will also include sessions with members of the U.S. Congress and other senior administration officials. We're also encouraging the private sector and civil society to organize side events in the run-up to the virtual AGOA ministerial. Finally, we are tracking closely the incredible work underway to negotiate and implement the African Continental Free Trade Area. Ghana's hosting the Secretariat is testament to the country's commitment to regional integration on a continental scale. I'm interested to hear how countries like Ghana are positioning themselves to build on the AFCFTA, as well as how the American business community in Ghana is planning to leverage it for their operations. The U.S. government has been providing technical assistance to the AFCFTA and is seeking ways that, in addition to those that we can be supportive, we would also like to establish a mechanism for ongoing dialogue and exchange with the AFCFTA Secretariat. As you can see, we have a very full plate of issues before us. I look forward to continuing our engagement. Thank you.
Well, great. And thank you so much, Bennett, again, for your leadership. We're excited about the AGOA Forum. I know the Chamber's planning on participating in a digital event preceding that, and we'll be sure to be providing our members with a platform to help advise and guide Congress and the administration on what the next steps for the AGOA policy should be going forward. It's now my distinct honor to bring to the virtual stage that we're on today the Honorable Minister for Trade and Industry of Ghana, Honorable Minister Alan Kyerematen, Minister of Trade and Industry for Ghana. As I mentioned, he has an extensive and distinguished record in international trade and public policy, enterprise development, politics, and diplomacy. Prior to his appointment, he served as ambassador of Ghana to the United States from 2001 to 2003. In that role, he negotiated various landmark trade and investment agreements between the United States and Ghana, initiated the establishment of the Ghana-United States Economic Council, which played a very strategic role in deepening trade relations between our two countries. He has been a true ally when we've discussed how we want to expand U.S. Ghana trade and investment. He's been at the table and he's been leading the Ghanaian private sector to further utilize AGOA eligibility, as well as really helping American companies get a strong foothold into the Ghanaian market as a point of operation in Ghana, but beyond. So it's my honor and distinct pleasure to bring to the forefront today the Honorable Minister. Although I note we may be having a slight technical challenge given some time zones. There he is. All right, Honorable Minister, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Scott. And let me skip the regular diplomatic courtesies and stand on existing protocol to extend a very warm regards from Ghana to all of you distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Let me start first by commending the U.S. Chamber of Commerce and AmCham for convening this year's Ghana-U.S. Business Forum. As we are all aware, Ghana and the United States have had long-standing and deep fraternal relations based on shared values, mutual respect, and a common heritage. In fact, there are generations of African Americans who trace their ancestry to Ghana. In spite of this strong bond of friendship, I would say that trade and investment between our two countries have not yet reached the levels that would reflect this long-standing friendship and fraternal relations. In my view, however, we have now reached a major turning point in U.S.-Ghana relations. And therefore, this year's forum could not have come at a better time. And I say so based on a number of strategic considerations. First, there's a new U.S. administration in office. I'm not quite sure whether they have fully unveiled their strategy for Africa. But we all know that AGOA was the first landmark legislation in the United States on U.S. Africa trade and investment relations. AGOA is set to expire in 2025. And so I believe that this year's forum must provide a platform and an opportunity for us to deliberate on our future post-AGOA U.S. Africa relations. And I believe that knowing the length of time that it takes for legislation to be passed in the United States, one should recognize that we don't have too much time to start this process of consultation and engagement on a post-U.S. Africa and Ghana within that context relationship. The second strategic consideration is the fact that in Ghana also we have a new government, albeit we are renewing our mandate, and we have a second term in office as a government, and we have launched a very aggressive program for industrial transformation, which I believe offers strategic entry points for U.S. investments in our country. Now, these new strategic anchor industries that are part of this industrial transformation agenda include the following: vehicle assembly and component manufacturing, garments and textiles, petrochemicals, agro-industry, industrial chemicals, including the processing of industrial salt, integrated bauxite and aluminum, iron and steel, and the manufacture of machinery and equipment. These strategic anchor industries are meant to diversify our economy away from cocoa and gold. And it is my view that together with investments in energy, in telecommunications, and in the financial services sector, there are many new entry points for U.S. Ghana investments which have not yet been explored fully. And this also includes pharmaceuticals. The third strategic consideration is the fact that the COVID pandemic has had a devastating impact on economies all over the world, including Ghana and the United States. And the capacity of countries to be able to emerge out of this pandemic will depend very much on strategic partnerships between countries. And I believe that the US and then Ghana should have a strategic partnership arrangement to develop a post-COVID economic transformation agenda which will support the two economies to our mutual benefit. The fourth strategic consideration, which I believe it's important for what I'm describing as a turning point in U.S. Ghana trade and investment relations, is the introduction and establishment of AFTA. I know you'd have the opportunity of a more robust discussion on the benefits and the advantages of AFTA for deepening U.S.-Ghana relations. And the U.S. ambassador to Ghana has already spoken eloquently about this. But let me say that in terms of the status of implementation, we already have been able to achieve about 80%, 86% of rules of origin consolidation, meaning that we have 86% rules of origin already agreed on between the state parties to the AFCFTA. And in addition to that, we have 44 countries that have already been able to submit their tariff offers for consideration in terms of the start of trading. So this already provides a basket of goods and a number of countries that are ready to be able to commence trading. But I believe that the entry point for the United States in respect of AFTA is to attract U.S. investments into Ghana to be able to take advantage of the African Continental Free Trade Area. What the AFTA means is that a U.S. investor that establishes a manufacturing facility here in Ghana can reach the whole of the continent duty-free, quota-free. And I believe that there could be no better opportunity than now to use AFTA as a stimulus for attracting U.S. investments. But I must say that it's not just about the production of goods to be traded amongst us within the continent. As part of the AFTA negotiations, we've also been able to agree on 5 priority service sectors, which will become the basis of our trade and services agenda. These are business and professional services, that's consulting services, transportation and logistics services, 3 financial services, 4 communications, and 5 tourism. So it does mean that apart from U.S. investors investing in Ghana to take advantage of trade in goods, U.S. companies that are engaged in these 5 priority service sectors also have an opportunity of setting up in Ghana in these areas of services to be able to extend their reach across the whole continent in these priority service sectors. So, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, there could be no better time than now for us between the United States and Ghana to launch a new platform for deepening trade and investment for the mutual benefit of our 2 countries. I wish you very successful deliberation in this forum. I thank you.
In this shifting, driven world, the one thing you can be sure of is change. It's tough to stay ahead, but that's okay, just as long as you always know who to count on. We are Cummins. We create the power solutions people depend on. It's what we've done for more than 100 years. Sure, all that history makes us proud, but the future pulls us forward.
Good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you are. My name is Guvere Yao. I'm the Executive Director for the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, U.S. Africa Business Center here in D.C. I would like to really thank the Honorable Minister for the kind words and the call for a new platform for trade and investment between Ghana and the U.S. and, of course, stressing the importance of AGOA to the relationship. It's now my distinct pleasure to introduce Mr. Prudence Sebaizi. He's the Senior Technical Advisor of the AFCFTA, the African Continental Free Trade Area, representing the Secretary General of the AFCFTA at this forum. Just for you to know that Mr. Prudence as I said, is a Senior Technical Advisor to the Secretary General. He provides technical and strategic advice to the AFCFTA negotiation institutions. He is extremely well versed into the negotiation, and I'm sure he's going to share a lot of perspective on where we are on the the AFCFTA. But it's also important to note that Mr. Prudence Sebaizi has been working in the field of trade and investment for a long time. Prior to joining the AFCFTA Secretariat, he was appointed to lead a team of experts who provided technical assistance and strategic guidance to strengthen the capacity of the African Union Department of Trade and Industry. Mr. Prudence has worked for a very long time with the government of Rwanda in the area of international trade and regional integration as a Rwanda chief negotiator for the negotiation of the AEC, the East Africa Commission Common Market Protocol since 2006. Mr. Sebaizi is truly not a stranger to the U.S. Chamber and its member, having engaged with us for the past 2 to 3 years. Mr. Sebaizi, the floor is yours, and thank you and welcome to the platform.
Thank you very much, Dr. Guevara Yao. Very good afternoon, everyone. Let me start by recognizing the presence of Honorable Alan, who is the Minister of Trade and Industry of Ghana. I also recognize other dignitaries here, Bennett, who is the Deputy Assistant of U.S. Trade Representative for Africa, His Excellency Sullivan, U.S. Ambassador to Ghana, Ayesha, who is the President of American Chamber of Commerce in Ghana, Scott, who is the President of the U.S Africa Center. Distinguished Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I'm delivering this statement on behalf of the Secretary General, His Excellency Wamkele Mene, who was not able to make time for this important forum due to prior commitments. He requested me to convey his greetings to you all, but also his apology for not being with us this afternoon. Let me begin by thanking the organizers, the American Chamber of Commerce, Ghana, for inviting the AFCFTA Secretariat to be part of the Ghana 2021 U.S. Ghana Business Forum. I'm pleased to note that the forum aims at, among others, to review trading under the AFCFTA and assess how U.S. and Ghanaian companies can take advantage of this opportunity. Please allow me to provide some insight on the AFCFTA and the opportunities that AFCFTA offers for the U.S. Africa business relations. I know Honorable Minister has done justice to most of the cases that we wanted to make for Africa attractiveness in terms of business. You know that AFCFTA was founded in 2018 when the agreement was signed. And from the 1st of January 2021, it became possible for state parties whose customs procedures are ready to trade under the AFCFTA. Currently, we have 40 of the AU member states that have ratified the AFCFTA agreement, and they are therefore state parties. We call them state parties by the virtue of ratifying the agreement. They make about 74% of the entire AU membership. And this means that those countries have legally accepted the obligations to open their markets, to reduce their barriers to trade, reduce barriers to investment, and also adhere to the single set of rules for trade and investment on African continent. State parties have committed to reduce tariff on 90% of goods which are traded amongst themselves in equal annual installments until they are fully eliminated within 5 years for non-least developed countries, and within 10 years for least developed countries. Another additional 7%, which has been qualified as sensitive goods, tariff will be eliminated within 10 years for non-LDCs and for 13 years for LDCs. LDCs meaning the least developed countries. Then the final 3% is excluded, which means that those products will retain their tariff to allow flexibilities for state parties with particular sensitivities. But this will be subject to a review every 5 years. The scope of the FCFTA is wide, and negotiations have been taking place in phases. Phase 1 of the negotiations established the protocols on trade in goods, trade in services, dispute settlement, and the protocol on trade in goods includes also a number of annexes which touch on rules of origin, non-tariff barriers, customs cooperation, trade facilitation, transit, trade remedies, SPS, which are sanitary and phytosanitary measures, and technical barriers to trade. So the protocol on trade in goods is very wide. Negotiation on phase 2 of the agreement, which cover the competition policy, investment, intellectual property rights, e-commerce, and women and youth in trade are at different stages, and preliminary work has already commenced. The phase 2 protocol on intellectual property rights will create a strong enabling environment for intellectual property creation, protection, administration, and enforcement, which will stimulate innovation and competitiveness of the business sector. Intellectual property rights provide incentives to investors to develop new knowledge, the right to obtain a patent for an invention, for example, encourages the investment of money and effort in research and development. The inauguration of the FCFTA dispute settlement body in April 2021 signals the readiness of the dispute settlement infrastructure to take up any disputes that may arise in the course of trading among the state parties. Today, the case for investing in Africa is stronger than ever. Africa will remain a competitive investment destination for decades to come because of its improving relative to risk profiles, demography, and continental integration. The new business case for Africa rests on factors including the following, and those factors have made African markets increasingly attractive to investors in recent years, and will continue to do so after the COVID-19 pandemic. Let me start with the number 1, which is the large, young, and urban population. Africa's population represents approximately 17% of the world's total population, with about 1.3 billion people. It creates a huge opportunity for industries such as the fast fashion and clothing industry, and for services sectors such as telecommunications, banking, and tourism. Africa has the highest urbanization rate in the world, which is expected to drive over 50% of Africans to cities by 2050. These demographic changes will continue to outpace those of similarly positioned economies such as India and China in the coming decades, securing Africa's position as the most demographically attractive investment destination in the world. The second factor is the connectiveness. Africa is connected. Let's call it that way. In addition to being increasingly urban, Africa's young population is more connected than ever before. By 2025, more than 500 million Africans will have access to mobile data. And mobile connections are growing not just because of improved access to data, but also the speed of that data. There will be 270 million mobile broadband, LTE, what we call long-term evolution, subscriptions by 2025, and total mobile data traffic flows will increase 12-fold over the next 5 years. The third aspect is that the size of African companies is adequate. When investors examine whether to enter a new market, one of the first considerations is the presence of adequately sized potential partners or customers. Both are abundant in African markets. Throughout the continent, there are 400 companies with annual revenues exceeding $1 billion, with another 700 firms generating over $500 million a year. These enterprises compete in diverse sectors and are gradually competitive. The other important aspect to note is that the cost of doing business in Africa is now going down. African markets have traditionally been small and fragmented, which result in high transaction costs for business and investors. This has placed the continent at a disadvantage relative to other high growth regions such as India and China, which are single, large, and have contiguously regulated markets. The FCFTA is thus a remedy with a comprehensive and holistic approach of what the private sector was missing in the past. Indeed, consolidating Africa into one trade area provides great opportunities for businesses and consumers across the continent, unlocking trade and manufacturing potential and further enhancing industrialization in Africa. The introduction of a continental simplified trade regime should provide small and informal businesses with greater protection and support their participation in the new export opportunities which are created by the FCFTA market. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the FCFTA agreement provides a platform where the U.S. businesses and investors can play an important role in the economic development of Africa. There is now increased and diversified opportunities to promote trade and foreign direct investment, create businesses and spur entrepreneurship, transferring new knowledge and skills within the FCFTA market. By providing a large and attractive market with reduced cross-border barriers, investors can undertake larger revenue projects on a regional rather than national scale. The FCFTA therefore offers an apt response to the reluctance of investors to invest in small, fragmented, and uncompetitive national markets. As I have indicated before, the next wave of investment into African markets should be bold, reforming, focusing on sectors that will define the continent's growth in the coming years. Past experience show that FDI went into areas such as telecommunications, consumer products, and industrial products. The FCFTA has unlocked value chains for investors, especially the U.S. investors. The key sectors that have been already identified with great potential in Africa are pharmaceuticals, automotive sector, automobiles, agro-processing, and financial technology. These are sectors that we think value chains development have potential in Africa. For example, with pharmaceuticals, the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic has intensified the need for African countries to enhance their capacity to produce pharmaceutical products and vaccines. This provides an opportunity for pharma investments and for technology supporting these investments in Africa. Such investments will depend on enabling factors such as intellectual property rights protection, regulatory approval of new drugs, financing, among others, which are enabled by the FCFTA. This provides many opportunities for the U.S. companies to invest in the sector. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, with the harmonized trade regulations and better movement of goods and services across the continent, the case for production in Africa for Africa is now a reality. Where business operators in the member states can play a significant role, of course. With the FCFTA, lower trade costs, greater productive capacity, and larger markets within Africa could spur demand for U.S. goods and services and incentivize greater U.S. investment in the region. For the U.S., FCFTA reduces its headache with creating separate frameworks for different African countries. With the business case for Africa now is clear, we encourage foreign investors excuse me, to enter the African market. In this regard, we are pleased that this U.S. Ghana Business Forum is taking place to promote the presence of U.S. business and investors in Ghana for that matter. So let me end here by thanking all of you. It is our expectation that at the end of today's forum, we can confidently say that not only in Africa, we are open for business, but also the U.S. is ready to do business with Africa. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Babe, I'm at KFC. Do you want anything?
I'm actually not that hungry, babe.
I'm actually not that hungry, babe.
Coming right up. Coming right up.
Are you sure?
I just ate.
Add an extra. I just ate.
Got it.
But
I'm fine, oh. Don't get me anything, okay?
Try the new KFC Dual Bucket. 4 delicious pieces of KFC chicken, 4 crispy golden strips and chips. The perfect sharing meal for 2.
See you now, babe.
Hello again. My name is Gavere Yao. I'm the Executive Director for the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, U.S. Africa Business Center here in Washington, D.C., where I lead our Northwest and Central Africa portfolio, along with our trade and investment task forces. I would like to welcome our audience across the continent and also here in D.C., in the U.S., to this very important conversation on boosting intra-Africa trade and investment through digitization and e-commerce. Today we have with us 3 distinguished speakers who from the continent who will help us unpack this very important topic. First, I would like to start in alphabetical order. First, Mr. Bosman Akufu Kwapong is the country director of MasterCard in Ghana. He is responsible for the strategic delivery of MasterCard business objective in Ghana. He has over 20 years of experience in financial services industry, including leadership role in business development, banking operation, client experience, payment, and digital innovation. Prior to joining MasterCard, Mr. Bosman was worked with Standard Chartered Bank. Next, I would like to introduce Ms. Jessica Opoku. She is the country manager for Uber in Ghana. She is extremely passionate about using the tech to impact the social and economic development of the continent. Jessica has extensive background in risk management, corporate finance, marketing. Prior to joining Uber, she also worked for Google and the First Atlantic Bank. Next, we have Ms. Adoma Prepa, the country manager of Visa in Ghana, where she oversees all the visa operations in the country. She is a financial service professional with extensive experience in payment and banking. Prior to joining Visa, she worked for Standard Bank in a variety of senior management across both retail and corporate and investment. I would like to welcome all of you here to this interesting and important conversation. But before I turn to the distinguished panelists, I would like to take a moment to share with you the current state of play in the digitalization and e-commerce in Africa. And that will help us set the stage for our conversation. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is what we know. We know that the novel coronavirus is really accelerating digital transformation and underscoring the need to harness the digital economy, including e-commerce, as a driver for growth and innovation on the continent. According to an estimate by McKinsey, COVID has really accelerated digitalization by 7 years globally. The global digital economy is projected at 23 trillion by 2025, representing roughly 24% of the world GDP. In Africa, the contribution of the digital economy to Africa economy is estimated at 180 billion by 2025 and is poised to grow to 712 billion by 2050. As we can see, demand has really increased significantly for teleworking, remote learning, teleconferencing, online health service, e-commerce, and digital payment. And then we see also that the new products and services are also emerging as we speak. The health crisis has led to increased demand for e-commerce in Africa. Kenya and Ghana register an increment of 79% in online purchases. In South Africa, online shopping grew to 68%. Given the outbreak of the pandemic and the rapid expansion of this sector, in the February of last year, the Assembly of Head of State and Government of the African Union decided to include a phase 3 negotiation of the AfCFTA focusing on e-commerce immediately after the conclusion of phase 2. Even this year, we learned that this has been brought back into the phase 2 to making sure that there is expedient work on this protocol. As we're speaking, there is a scoping exercise to really define the content of this. And this really has been done in part to ensure that new laws and regulations are harmonized and support cross-border e-commerce development across the continent. So today it's really a pleasure to have our distinguished speakers to share their perspective on how to boost intra-Africa trade and investment through digitization and e-commerce in the context of AfCFTA. Ladies and gentlemen, we have about 30 minutes to unpack this important topic. So I would like to dive straight into the conversation dispensing you from any opening statements. I would like to start in alphabetical order with you, Mr. Bosman Kwapong from MasterCard. In your view, and looking at the trend I just painted, what are the opportunity for digitization and e-commerce in promoting intra-Africa trade? What are MasterCard experience promoting this sector in Africa? And also what lesson can you really draw from this going throughout the whole continent? I mean, it's a 3-in-1, but feel free to pick any angle that you like. The floor is yours, please.
So, digitization obviously has significant advantage and gains for a number of players in the industry. And MasterCard has a number of ways they support businesses in this sector. I will want to just give you a bit of perspective on how digitization has increased access to financial services in the Africa and Middle East region. So if you look at the Middle East and Africa region, 79% of SMEs have identified easier access to credit as one of the key drivers for their growth. This means that if we are able to positively impact SMEs with finance, then they would be able to enhance their business. MasterCard micro credit program is one of the key ways that we are able to impact. And we are partnering with banks in Ghana and Africa to deliver these services, looking at the ecosystem of FMCGs to deliver these services. The increased penetration of mobile in Africa gives us that benefit. If you look at it as of 2020, it is estimated that over 636 million Africans have SIM connections, which is 3/4 of the population in Africa. And according to the GSMA latest report released in March 2021, mobile money payments have transformed the payment landscape in Africa. And therefore, we see partnership as one of the key areas in developing and enhancing services that we deliver to consumers, retailers, and merchants across Africa. And our partnership with companies like Airtel, Asante Financial Services, have helped release a pay-on-demand solution platform, which was built by our MasterCard app lab to bring convenient financial services to our client. Samsung, which leveraging on Samsung pay-on-demand mobile services, Asante extensive insights into digital finance and our innovative platform has been effective in providing loans to consumers and leveraging on Airtel expertise to deliver this product. Our pause here, these are some of the things that MasterCard has been doing in enhancing trade in Africa.
Thank you for sharing this perspective. I'll get back to you very soon. But for now, I'd like to pivot to Ms. Jessica Opoku from Uber. Ms. Jessica, I just want to tell you that we have really noticed that the gig economy has transformed lives and brought people in from the informal sector to the formal sector. AFCFTA will help bring down borders and bring greater trade to the region, as was explained by the representative from AFCFTA Secretariat. Where do you see Uber role when it comes to the flow of goods, specifically on the delivery side? Can you expand a little bit on that and share your experience in Ghana? Thanks.
Awesome, thank you. So from our perspective, we know that people are always looking for ways to get goods and other necessities delivered quickly and conveniently. And businesses are also looking for better ways to serve their customers. And the platform is there for that, to move things and people quickly. And during the pandemic especially, we pivoted to adapt our offerings to meet these changing needs and to scale globally. So we're continuing to trial various new ideas to see what works, to see how consumers and businesses respond, and what the unit economics of these types of services also look like. Now, for the gig economy, this further unlocks opportunities for drivers, right? We continue to contribute, to be a key contributor across economies on the continent, and we're trying to create part-time work across several segments of the population. And by leveraging this technology and the platform to surface work where it is available, our goal is to connect drivers and couriers to the most pressing needs of the people and businesses in the community, bringing the work that matters to the earners who need it, who are the drivers and the couriers. So easy access is our priority. And with AFCFTA, it will facilitate movement of persons and goods across the region in order to deepen economic integration and development.
Thank you for sharing that perspective. I would like now to transition to Ms. Adoma Pipra. We have seen from Visa, of course, we have seen that fintech really has been flourishing a lot in the continent over the past years. How can the international and domestic fintech work together to promote digitization and e-commerce on the continent? Can you share your perspective, please?
Sure. Thank you, Dr. Yao, for having me on this panel. So there are three ways that we've seen how local fintechs have partnered with international players to leverage on their capabilities. And the three main ways we've seen them is around how they, in partnership, been able to improve their offering to merchants. Number two, around localization of collections. And number three is really around enabling the ease of payments. Now, I'll just give you a brief example of each one of them. In terms of improving the offering to merchants, Paystack and Shopify have struck an arrangement. So through that, merchants have access to Shopify and they're able to receive payments from everywhere across the world. So both, if you think about merchants here in Ghana, they can accept payments here locally and then also from overseas. So through that partnership, it's been able to enable that. Now, around localization of collections, a classic example of that is between Flutterwave and Netflix. So what's happened is that Flutterwave and Netflix have partnered. So Flutterwave is actually the domestic partner that's helping to collect local currency. So how that benefits is that it guards against fluctuation against the dollar. So Netflix users have more certainty in terms of what it is that they pay. And also, if you think about the likes of countries like Nigeria, where there is shortage of FX currency, it doesn't come to play here. And then thirdly, around enabling the ease of payments. And again, Flutterwave is playing a great role in terms of this. So they have partnered with PayPal and then also Alibaba so that they can accept payments from anywhere else. So they've integrated PayPal and Alipay into their payment apps. So these are some of the ways that you're seeing how partnerships between local fintechs and international organizations is really changing the way e-commerce happens on the continent.
Yeah, thank you. That's extremely great and really encouraging to see that trend. Mr. Kwapong, sorry, I would like to follow up on the perspective you shared earlier on the opportunity for digitalization and e-commerce in the continent. I would like you to just reflect a little bit with us and tell us, in your view, what are the long-term challenges digitalization and e-commerce can pose to African economy, specifically the domestic businesses, and how can these challenges be addressed? Do you see any challenge at all?
Yes, there are a number of challenges that we see, and as I was saying earlier, digitalization, we need to first of all see the advantages that digitalization gives to the African economies. And at MasterCard, we ensure we stay at the game, ahead of the game, through our continuous innovation and investing in ensuring that we solve some of these ongoing issues around digitization. There are two main items that I want to highlight here. Digitization and e-commerce thrive on efficient mobile service. And therefore, one of the key challenges that we see in the African sub-region is around disruption to mobile services. And this can significantly lead to loss of business, revenue loss to the businesses and the consumers, and even loss of consumers in loss of confidence in products and services. This we have seen a lot of the mobile service companies investing significantly in this area as a way of minimizing distractions as much as possible. So one of the key solutions that we see is partnering with some of the international telcos to make sure that services the distractions to services are as minimal as possible. We see cyber security as one of the big pieces that has come up as a result of digitization and e-commerce. If you see, the advent of COVID has led to an increase in digital and e-commerce services. It has also led to a tenfold increase in cybercrime or cybersecurity-related issues. At MasterCard, we have invested significantly in this area as a way of minimizing the impact or reducing the incidence of cyber fraud. We acquired a company called New Data Security as a way of providing cybersecurity services in minimizing and reducing the incidence of cybersecurity issues. MasterCard has committed over $250 million over the next couple of years in investment, providing financial support as a way of minimizing cybersecurity activities in the world and in the sub-region. Just to summarize, we see two main issues that impact the digitization and e-commerce agenda in the long term, and these are disruption to mobile services and cybersecurity. This, we believe, is being resolved through significant investment by the mobile services companies and MasterCard investment in the cybersecurity area. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think the cyber issue is definitely a very important aspect of the digital economy, and I think more and more we see people being trained and more sensitization on the cyber security front. But I would like to move and follow up with Uber. What I can see is that Uber has really helped revolutionize the entrepreneurship model and reduce informality, as I was talking about, as part of a growing number of digital platforms in virtual marketplace. Can you share with us how Uber partnership across digital economy and financial services are contributing to the growth of this ecosystem? I'm talking about the digital economy, digitization and e-commerce in Ghana. Can you share just your experience on really how this Uber is really helping to really move this sector forward?
Okay, great. So like we keep alluding to the pandemic, especially, a lot has changed, and digital transformation has been accelerated considerably, because we've been forced to embrace it, and we need to continue to encourage that, because the benefits that technology activates in a society are useful. And what we have seen, I think our mission hasn't changed, right? Pre-COVID and now, our mission hasn't changed. We still want to create economic opportunities in the markets that we're live in. We still want to move things and people around, and we're still committed to doing that. What we've seen, though, is that the technological trends tend to move much faster than regulation in markets. And while we're unlocking these innovative new models and services, policy framework also needs to move at a similar pace in order to support that innovation and keep that growth moving steadily. So what Uber has taken upon itself to do is to engage more closely with governments and regulators in the regions, right? To encourage us to improve the growth rather than over-regulating the industry, which can stifle growth. And so we're committed to doing that. And we're doing that even more now, especially because we're working hand in hand with governments. So, for example, with vaccine distribution in the markets across the region, we try to provide easy access to vaccine sites by working with regulators and public health authorities, encouraging the adherence to WHO protocol using our platform and using our app and our CRM. And we're just committed also to pivoting to help unlock further economic opportunities for drivers and couriers. So we partner with the cities and we continue to develop frameworks. So we will propose where regulation does not exist, because before the smartphone era, a lot of these regulations existed. And so we, where possible, will propose favorable, reasonable regulation that will encourage growth and lead to the development of the continent through tech. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. I would like to move to Ms. Prepra from Visa. I know Visa has been extremely active on the continent, also in Ghana. What experience? What are the experience of promoting digitization and e-commerce in Africa, and specifically in Ghana? And what experience can be drawn for the continent-wide scale-up? Really scaling up this digitization, which is extremely important for the growth of the continent. What experience can you share, and what do you think can be done?
Great question. And at Visa, it's something that we have thought about quite substantially and have done extensive research on. So during 2020, at the height of the lockdown, we did a survey. Now, our region, similar to what Bosman is talking about, is an area called Central Europe, Middle East, and Africa. And so we embarked on quite extensive studies, and there's some really interesting feedback that I would like to share with you. So I think Bosman made mention of this as well. In terms of what we realized are that South Africa, Nigeria, and Kenya were three of the countries that had acceleration in terms of e-commerce. And what was also very encouraging to hear about is the fact that Ghana came in at a very, very close fourth. Actually, Kenya and Ghana were kind of tied at the third place, but there were some other intricacies that kind of put Kenya before Ghana. Also, what we realized is that e-commerce in sub-Saharan Africa grew by 5% when compared to the prior year. There were also certain changes in the way that people shopped. We saw that 68% of people went to the grocery store less, and 71% of people also went to the pharmacies less, and 67% of people went to or used public transport a lot less. These are all ways that people were trying to curtail the exposure to environments that they felt may be prone to the pandemic. And all of these people, what they did was they actually shopped online. And also what we realized as well as the consumer attitudes change. We saw that 66% of people were buying in bulk in order to be able to minimize the number of trips that they took to the shop. 56% of people were avoiding rush hours, and 68% of people were shopping for essentials only. So now the thing is, when you hear about all these different things, you realize that people's shopping needs and what they require has changed. And so merchants need to come to the party in terms of putting together solutions that will work for these people. And so what we've seen is that the most important e-commerce enablers are really three important things: ability to access financial services, digital payment channels, and mobile shopping. And this is taking hold across all of sub-Saharan Africa. And we are seeing that across sub-Saharan Africa, the region has recorded year-on-year growth of about 42% between 2019 and 2020. So these are all things that are shifting, and people just need to be aware of it so that they can put the right infrastructure in place so that people can consume and adopt e-commerce better.
Thank you very much. Mr. Bosman, I think I would like to come back to you now and maybe speak about something a bit different, but also dear to your heart. I know that MasterCard has made a global commitment to connect about 25 million women entrepreneurs to the digital economy by 2025. In a new inaugural study, the MasterCard Middle East and Africa SME Confidence Index revealed that over 80% of women entrepreneurs have digital readiness for their business. I know that you have been really supporting women entrepreneur in Ghana. Can you share a little bit your experience on this, and maybe expand and tell us how do you see MasterCard role in helping digitization and e-commerce, specifically when it comes to women?
I think one of the key activities that we realize women's engaging or support in engaging in is around the farming activities. And one of the ways MasterCard has supported this is through MasterCard Farming Network. And this platform provides the opportunity for agro businesses through either be it farmer groups to put their products and services on a platform that buyers and sellers can take advantage on. So this platform is an extensive platform that engages both ends in the agriculture ecosystem. And we have seen that women are one of the key beneficiaries of such an initiative. The other piece that MasterCard has done in Ghana is what I was talking earlier around the microcredit program. Once again, we have seen through our engagement with FMCGs that one of the key beneficiaries of this significant activity are women groups who are taking advantage to get small credit to expand their business and to also take advantage and make digital payments as part of these initiatives. So those are the two big pieces that we have seen MasterCard improve and enhance the life of women in Ghana. And this initiative have been done in countries like Tanzania, Uganda, and we are seeing the benefits. So just to leave it at these two examples of how MasterCard is impacting women groups in Ghana.
Thank you very much for this perspective. I know we are getting very close to the end of our session, unfortunately. So I would like to pose this question, but I also want you to take this as an opportunity for you to make some closing remarks or speak about any other aspect, topic that you like before we close up. So coming back to Uber, I know, Ms. Opoku, that you said you highlighted really the importance of partnership. In your view, what more can government do to help address some of the issue around infrastructure as a means to propelling the growth of e-commerce and digitization on the continent?
Right, thank you. So, like I said, Uber is pro-regulation, and where governments really come in when it comes to tech is trying to ensure that regulations are favorable and will support and not stifle tech. So, like I was saying earlier, because policies were drafted before smartphones and apps existed, we're looking to work with them to update these regulations. And so we enter into consultative processes where applications and other tech companies are invited as stakeholders to submit points of view and to submit suggestions for updates. So governments can assist this way. They can assist with lowering red tape. Uber is also a significant net contributor to local economies where we operated, and we are committed to helping, to being a responsible citizen, a corporate citizen, both in Ghana and globally. So because there's so many opportunities present in Africa for e-commerce, and businesses are already struggling with challenges around infrastructure, financial inclusion, logistics, really the key thing that we require and engage government to support us with is just lowering that red tape. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ms. Prepra, I think I would like to for you to share your perspective. As I was telling earlier, the AFCFTA Secretariat is really working now on scoping exercise for the e-commerce protocol. You know, as an active worker in that space, what would you like to see from the Secretariat and even from the government in the e-commerce protocol? But more generally, what do you think are the challenges and what should be done by the government, but also by the Secretariat? And use it as a way of closing, if I may.
Sure, thank you. I think this is a very, very important conversation. And if you're to see e-commerce growing, I think there's a few things that need to be put in place to be able to enable that. There are a number of things that I could go on and on and on about. For example, addressing tariff barriers, improving security, looking at ease of movement. If I want to go to Cameroon, for example, let me not have to go to Europe first before I come back down into Africa. Let's look at adoption of common standards for goods and services. You know, I think the Continental Free Trade can put together certain minimum standards so that we can ensure that there isn't a dumping of inferior goods into the African market. I think they can really do a lot around that. Another thing is really around, and this is very dear to my heart, and I'm sure to my other colleagues on the panel, is around multi-currency settlement. I know that the Continental Free Trade and AfrExim are working on the settlement service and the PATS. Really, one of the key things around trade on the continent is around multi-currency settlement. So I am trading in cedis. I want to pay somebody in South Africa. I have to go and change to dollars and then dollars into rands. And doing all of those different exchanges, you lose some value. So we need to be able to buffer against those currency fluctuations. And so being able to have something that enables multi-currency settlements easily will be very, very helpful. Another thing I want to talk about is really around the harmonization of regional identity requirements. So for me here in Ghana, there's certain things that are in place to identify individuals and companies. But if I go to Nigeria, for example, it is different. So what I have in Ghana is possibly closed loop. And so it won't have any applicability next door in Nigeria. So what can we do around harmonization of the regional identity requirements so that there is a common way of identifying individuals, companies, and it makes for trade go easier? And then lastly, what I want to talk about is really around incentives. So we all know that Twitter has decided to settle in Ghana and have their African representative office. We need more Twitters in the African economy. And so governments can come in there through tax holidays, rebates, granting of grants and loans, creating of industrial zones, which can also help bring international companies into Ghana, but also promote local industries. And so I think if we have all of these different things in place, it will really help and go a long way in terms of helping to make sure that e-commerce continues to grow. I think the e-commerce phenomenon that we have seen through the pandemic is here to stay. It's not to change anytime soon. And I think having some of these elements in play will just really help accelerate that.
Thank you very much for this perspective. Mr. Bosman, I think I will remiss if I don't come back to you for you to offer some closing remarks. But before you do that, I just want to share just some few statistics here. What we notice is that the unanticipated rapid expansion of the e-commerce has really left policy and regulation on the back foot in the continent. Many African countries currently lack adequate legislation. Just to give you some example, 61% of African countries have electronic transaction legislation. 46% have digital consumer protection. 50% have privacy and data protection. 72% have cyber crime legislation. You were just talking about, the importance of cyber security. In your view, and looking at also what is being done at the AFCFTA Secretariat, where they are currently working on the scoping of the e-commerce protocol. From your perspective, what more should be done? What would you like to see from the Secretariat and even from the government to see this sector continue to flourish in a very secure manner? Thank you.
I think between the Secretariat and the government, there are a lot that they are doing. And I'll sort of highlight some of the key things that we have seen happen in the Ghanaian economy. So if you see, there are 4 legal frameworks that are in existence that support e-commerce and activities of trade within the Ghana country. So if you see the GIPC Act 865, if you see the Payment and Services Act, you see the Cybersecurity Act. These are frameworks that government is putting in place to support and regulate the activities of digital and payment services companies. So if you also look at government direction around the national ID, the national address system, the SIM registration, which the Minister of Communications spoke about last couple of weeks, are key enabling factors that government is doing to enhance. I think that what we would like to see is a lot more cooperation and partnership between government and private sector to deliver some of these enhanced solutions. Because if you look at digital payments, the government cannot do it alone. It needs to partner with private sector and global companies to deliver this on an ongoing basis. When you look at the Secretariat, looking at the 2 main benefits that AfTA can support or would benefit African countries, which is boosting economic activities and intra-trade diversity, we believe that the Secretariat needs to do a little bit more engagement with stakeholders and businesses in each of these individual countries around the activities so that they can partner and take advantage of the opportunities that it comes along. I'd like to take opportunity to thank you for this, and those would be my closing remarks. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. This is really bringing us to the end of this interesting session. It was short, but straight to the point on the importance of the e-commerce. And maybe just like to end with this new statistic to really give you some good outlook and prospect. In West Africa, we have about 42% of internet users. In Ghana, I think it's about 50%. About 46.5% annual growth that we have seen in the total value of consumer good e-commerce in Ghana. 57% of Ghana population have an account with a financial institution. We've seen that these are really good statistics and good outlook that tells us that this sector indeed is very, very important. And there is a lot that the continent and then Ghana can benefit from really expanding this very specific sector. We have unfortunately come to the end of this interesting conversation. I know we have many, many more opportunities to speak about this topic. Remember, this event is 2 days. Tomorrow we have 2 vibrant panel discussions. But for now, I would just like to end here and thank our panelists for their time. You have seen those are examples of U.S. companies that are extremely successful in the continent and in Ghana in particular. I would like to thank you, Mr. Bosman. I'd like to thank you, Jessica. Thank you, Ms. Prepa, for your time. And I want to wish you a good rest of your day. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me.
Thanks for having us.
Now we have come to the end of this session, but I would like to turn to the Vice President of AmCham, who will be giving some closing remarks for this session, the session of the day. Again, tomorrow we have 2 more panel discussions. Mr. Paco Shom is the Vice President of AmCham Ghana. He is the country representative for Delta Airlines in Ghana. What you need to know about this gentleman is that he's an entrepreneur behind the startup and development of various companies, bringing each of them to a commercial success. He's been doing that since 1988. In 2006, he founded the Aviation Alliance to represent Delta Airlines as Ghana dedicated general sales agent, and has led the company to win several awards, including the CIMG Airline of the Year Award, 3 National Aviation Award, and Executive Excellence Award for the International Airline of the Year. He has a lot of accolades. In 2019, he was honored with the CEO of the Year Airline Sector Award at the 4th Ghana CEO Summit. He's also been named as the Outstanding Business Leader of the Year Award in the aviation sector. And the list goes on and on. We are extremely happy and fortunate to have him as part of the AmCham network, as again is the Vice President of the AmCham Ghana. Without further ado, I would like to turn to you, Mr. Paco Shom. The floor is yours for the closing remarks.
Thank you very much, Dr. Yao. And good afternoon from Accra, everybody. All protocols observed. On behalf of the American Chamber of Commerce Ghana and the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, I would like to thank you all for your participation on the first day of this year's U.S. Ghana Business Forum. It is indeed my pleasure to be here, especially as the forum theme for 2021 comes on the back of Ghana's hosting of the Africa Continent Free Trade Area Secretariat, and particularly as this forum is held in the first year of the commencement of trading through AFTA. At his swearing in as the Secretary General of the Free Trade Area Secretariat, His Excellency Wamkele Mene said, "The AFTA is a critical response to Africa's developmental challenges." And he further went on to conclude, among many others, that its creation sends a strong signal to the international investor community that Africa is open for business, based on a single rule book for trade and investment. This statement was echoed by our keynote speaker today, the Honorable Alan Chematin, when he alluded briefly in his speech of the opportunity of Africa as a single economic market under AFTA. I trust this first day's discussions have been beneficial to you, your industry, or the government agency you represent in providing impetus to the knowledge and appreciation you already have of the tremendous opportunities the continent presents to investors of all types and sizes. Like other speakers have done, I also want to convey special appreciation to the opening session speakers. And I'll start off by thanking our keynote speaker for today, the Honorable Alan Chematin, Minister of Trade and Industry of the Republic of Ghana. Thank you also to the Deputy Assistant U.S. Trade Representative for Africa, Bennett Harmon. Thank you for your keynote remarks. Her Excellency Ambassador Stephanie Sullivan, U.S. Ambassador to Ghana. As always, thank you for all you do in support of U.S. businesses and their partners in Ghana, and for sharing remarks earlier today. Thanks also to Scott Eisner, President of the U.S. Africa Business Center at the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, Dr. Wevere Yao, Executive Director at the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, and Mr. Prudence Sebahizi, Senior Technical Advisor on AFTA. We appreciate your kickstarting of the important conversation around Africa free trade in U.S. Africa business relations. And of course, finally, our very own Aisha Bedue Ibe, President of the American Chamber of Commerce in Ghana. Indeed, today's discussions have provided additional insights into how digitization and its ecosystem of business opportunities could shape and influence trade and investment between the United States, Ghana, and in fact, the rest of the continent. This is indeed a transformational and intriguing prospect, which is often misunderstood and totally underestimated by the by the sheer scale and cyber risk it presents. We would like to thank the following industry experts who joined us today to provide some clarity to this topic. Jessica Poku from Uber, Adoma Pepra from Visa, and Bosman Papong from MasterCard. Participants of the forum all over the world have benefited from the knowledge and experience of private sector players in both the US and Ghanaian economies in day one of this year's event. However, all AmCham member companies, took on the additional responsibility of supporting this year's forum through sponsorships. It is my pleasure to acknowledge in the gold sponsor category, Cummins, Cosmos Energy, and Coca-Cola. And in the silver category, Masco Foods, KFC sole franchisee for Ghana, and corporate law firm Kimathi & Partners. Finally, allow me to acknowledge this year's forum partners, the Ghana Embassy in Washington, D.C., the U.S. Commercial Service of the United States Department of Commerce, the Ghana Investment Promotion Center, and the Ghana Houston Chamber of Commerce for all their contributions to this year's forum. Tomorrow, on the second and last day of the forum, Her Excellency Hajia Halima Mahama, Ghana's ambassador to the United States of America, will address the forum on the topic, harnessing the diaspora to promote trade and investment between the United States and Ghana. We shall also have Mr. Yofi Grant, CEO of the Ghana Investment Promotion Center, speak on investment opportunities in Ghana for U.S. investors in the context of AFC-FTA. Panel discussions will feature leaders of the U.S. business community in Ghana and the U.S. who will discuss prospects in Ghana's extractive, energy, and infrastructure sectors and developing U.S.-Ghana partnerships in manufacturing, services, and the recent wave of franchising we're witnessing all over the continent. Sunday not to be missed. On that note, I thank you for joining us and wish you a most wonderful afternoon. Thank you.